Let's talk about the position everybody wants to talk about. That's right, we're going to talk tight ends. Because I know y'all want to talk about receivers, but I'm going to save that for last because there's a lot to talk about here, but there's also a lot to talk about with this class, because where does it go after Kyle Pitts? Let's be honest, he's number one. But I'm going to give you my top 10 tight ends in the 2021 NFL draft class. If you want to see the rest of the list, go ahead to ftfn.com. The link's in the description below. It's also the pinned comment. You can see my full rankings there, along with all my other positional rankings as well. I'm doing this a couple of days before you're able to view it, so some of these guys might decide to come back, so don't beat me up too much. Just go look at my full rankings and just uninsert that guy, I guess. But yeah, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So can't forget the intro either. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe, especially if you love draft content. We're about to get in draft season, and you're gonna get a lot of it. So come join a beautiful community full of beautiful, intimate, desirable football discourse. I could be a love DJ. I'm just saying. But yeah. Go ahead and do that. Leave a comment below if you want to have some of that nice football discourse, and a thumbs up really helps the video. I really do appreciate it a ton. But let's go ahead, let's do it, let's deep dive. And we're gonna start with Jeremy Ruckert out of Ohio State. Let's be honest, this guy, good chance he comes back, but again, I don't see why he would, because Ohio State just doesn't use their tight ends. There's no point in it, you know? He has such a small sample size to pick from, and Luke Farrell kind of has the same problem, but it's like, why return if it really probably won't impact your draft stock whatsoever? So, and like, honestly, like the guys I have behind him, Nick Muse out of South Carolina, Peyton Hendershot out of Indiana, even Kylan, was it Grander? Was it Kylan, the SMU tight end? Kylan Granson out of SMU. You could easily put them in this 10 spot, but this is based off pure projection, because this guy, honestly, he has pretty darn good hands, actually. He's been a pretty dynamic athlete, at least for his size. Good catch radius, being that 6'5", 253. Again, solid blocker, but all this is, well, outside of blocking, you know, he's been actually utilized quite a bit, but all this is projection, dude. I think he may only have 10 targets on the season, and that's not going to change in 2021, so he might as well just declare. And honestly, best hope is just blowing up the combine, you know? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to sit for another season just because you need to go to the Senior Bowl? Like, nah, just come out now. Let's go with Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin, coming here at 9. Dude's a very solid run blocker. Who would have guessed? Because Wisconsin loves to run the ball. Very heavy run the football team. But he is actually their most targeted receiver in the offense. Like, pretty good receiving ability, too. He's very physical. He's actually pretty darn good after the catch as well. Like, I think he only has about like 200 some yards on the season. Over 100 of that is after the catch. So, very good. He is a bit limited as an athlete, though. And you can kind of tell that by he's only been targeted 3 times downfield this year, and that's probably because the guy's gonna run like a 4.8, which isn't great for a tight end, because typically we're trying to find these playmakers in the pass game now at tight end. If you're just a blocking tight end, it's like, all right, well, we could get you on day 3. And well, that's kind of where I have him, but I like him a lot. I think there's some really good like prospects in this class. Then we got Kenny Yeboah out of Ole Miss. The dude's a grad transfer from Temple. Wasn't really used there at Temple, but Ole Miss has just really unleashed the beast so far this season. He has 27 receptions for 524 yards, 6 touchdowns. He hasn't played much in line, though. He's typically playing the slot, even sometimes outside. And it might be because a bit of a lack of strength there, or at least play strength, which is something, yes, you can improve, which he probably should before the combine, if he's invited to the combine. I don't think they've passed out those invites yet, though, anyway. So, but the guy's got some legit wheels, great body control. Like, as a weapon, huge potential. Kind of see a bit of oh my gosh, I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. The tight end out of Missouri last year that got drafted by the Broncos. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna butcher his name. I already get enough crap about how I pronounce names anyway, so I'm not gonna give y'all more ammo. Let's go to Trey McBride, dude. This guy honestly could end up coming back. I really wish he would have transferred. He didn't. He decided to play this season, which they've only played 4 games, but he's been pretty solid in that. He only turns 20 this fall, so he's probably actually 20 right now because it's winter. So yeah, he's 20. So he's probably gonna, like, he can return to for his senior year. I'd really like it if he would have just transferred to Power 5 school. I guess it is what it is, because I really think if he comes out in 2022 and maybe even transfers, he could be a first rounder or maybe a day 2 pick. But he's probably he has some of the best ball skills in this class. He's also one of the best blockers in this class. He has actually some really good speed. He doesn't really make tacklers miss, but he's like kind of a battering ram, very similar to how Pat Frymuth basically makes tacklers miss. He doesn't. He just makes them regret even trying to tackle him. Just rams right into him. So they're pretty good after contact. His probably biggest knock, which he's been better at this season, but it's only 4 games, you know, so it's a bit of a small sample size, but his route running is kind of and his actual just route tree is pretty limited there at Colorado State, which is part of the reason why I think maybe Warren Jackson decided to just declare and opt out of the year. Because, I mean, if you're not really, like, that was kind of even a thing with him, is they don't really use like, he wasn't going to really show off. Like, hey, look at all the routes I can do. They have me run 5, you know? But, I mean, granted, the receivers, they get a bit more liberty when it comes to that. But I really like McBride as a prospect. I think he's in a bad predicament there. But I think he could be a very solid early day 3 guy. James Mitchell out of Virginia Tech. This guy's probably one of the biggest risers for most people at the tight end position, because he was kind of just split in time there with Dalton Keene. If you remember, it was one of the tight ends that the Patriots drafted at the end of the 3rd round, I believe, there with Asiasi, the UCLA cat. So, but this guy, man, this dude came right out the bat and showed he could be a deep play threat. Like, for real, if his quarterback was anyone other than, like, anyone that wasn't Hendon Hooker, who's now transferring, by the way, because his accuracy is just, it's not great. He was missed, like, downfield, Mitchell was missed a ton. So I think he would have had better production, but he still had pretty good production. Probably actually more productive than any of the other receivers on the squad. But this guy only being 6'3", so a bit short. 242, I'd really prefer if you're that 250 range, you know, but it is what it is. He's actually one of the better run blockers in this class and in the country. Like, he's just, I don't want to say, it's not nasty how he plays, but he kind of is, you know. He's scrappy. That's a much better word, scrappy, with how he plays as a blocker. So I really like this guy. 4th round feels about right. And then we're going to talk about Charlie Collar out of Iowa State. I really like this guy coming into the season. Unfortunately, he was a little banged up at the beginning of the year, but since he's been back, Brock Purdy really appreciated it because he's playing a lot better because of it outside of the last game. But he ended up getting 30. He's so far 39 receptions for 538 yards, 6 touchdowns. Like, you could tell that Iowa State offense really missed Collar here, but the thing is, the next, what is it, 1, 2, 3, yeah, the next 4 prospects, just athletically, they are much, much better. Like, he just doesn't have the speed as some of these guys in this class. He's not gonna he's not gonna do too great after the catch. He's just kind of a take what is given type of guy, but he's very savvy as a route runner. He wins with all the routes you want to see a tight end win with, crossers and such, and just smart guy, huge catch radius. Like, yeah, he was a academic All-American nominee in 2019. Very bright kid, good size. I think all for all, you know, he's solid tight end too. So yeah, Good for you, bruh. Hunter Long here at 4, dude. He's really really kind of broken out in his own right, because he's saw like a huge uptick in production. Like, this guy's the most targeted tight end in football today. He has 89 targets, turned that into 52 receptions. He is a bit limited after the catch, but he actually has some pretty good like deep play capability. He's got good length. He has got pretty decent speed and quickness. And he's not saying he's like the most outstanding athlete, but he gets the job done. He won't beat many corners, but tight ends, he's going to give him some serious trouble. He displayed good hands. He only, I think, has 3 drops, which is kind of ridiculous if you're thinking about 89 targets, only 3 drops. Decent separation. Like I said, man, all in all, pretty solid prospect. He's a good enough blocker. I'd be willing to, you know, grab him at the end of day 2. Reverend Jordan out of the U. This guy, let's talk about some of his knocks first, because I think he has made leaps and bounds of improvement this season. He's gotten a little bit better as a route runner, but still, that's probably his weakest area. He's gotten much more physical at the catch point, which is great, because on contested catches in 2019, he was 2 of 11. Pretty terrible. He's gotten a bit better at that. Still, like, I want to see him be more physical at the catch point. And then his hands have improved a ton. Like, he started the season off kind of in questionable territory. He had 3 drops on 21 catchable targets. Since then, he hasn't dropped the ball once. Good on you. The dude's an athletic freak. He's tough to bring down after the catch. He's probably the best after the catch tight end in this class. Yes, including Kyle Pitts. So there's a lot to like about him, but again, and you know what, that might bump him to the 2nd round, honestly, with just the potential tools. So I might change that to 2nd round, man. I might. But let's talk about Pat Frymuth out of Penn State. He has experience on the outside, in line, in the slot. So everywhere, he spent a little time here, a little time there. He's one of the better, probably among the top 3 blockers in this draft class in terms of, well, talking about tight ends. Doesn't have some of the speed of a Kyle Pitts or a Reverend Jordan, to say the least. But the guy gets the job done. I talked about how he is really pretty solid after the catch, more so after contact. Like I said, he is hard to bring down. That's where he gets his yards at. There's no way he dethrones number 1, but I think he'd be a solid tight end. He's an immediate starter almost anywhere he goes. And then Kyle Pitts, of course, he's number 1. It just makes sense. The dude's a freak. He's been a monster this season. 43 receptions for 770 yards, 12 touchdowns. Whether it's in line, on the outside, or in the slot, he can line up anywhere. And he's actually a very good pass blocker as well. People are like, well, he can't block, where's crap? But yeah, he's a pretty good pass blocker, and he has gotten better as a run blocker. So yeah, just be quiet. Kyle Pitts is amazing. He could be a top 10 pick. I'd pick him in the top 10. The guy is great. I think he's comparable to a Darren Waller, to a Travis Kelce. If you didn't know, those are kind of the 2 best tight ends in all of football. You might say, oh, what about George Kittle? I mean, be healthy. I love Kittle. So I love Kittle. It's not a knock. It's not a jab. It's a joke. But yeah, Pitts, dude's just a different breed when it comes to tight ends in this class. He's just a weapon. Just to say he's just a tight end, and that's why you're not drafting him, is very, not even short-sighted, but close-minded. So I think people with that mindset, that's just the Pitts. Oh, let's end the video on that. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. Leave a comment below, even if it's just to say, what up, my dude? I'm always down to talk, chit chat, and whatnot. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.